The history and tradition which rests within every brick, every board, and every window of the Red Antiquities Building goes back to the beginnings of the city of London itself. In the mid-1860s, London was enjoying an economic boom brought on by the American Civil War. Situated in the middle of a rich agricultural belt, London prospered from shipping wheat across its southern border. Finally able to climb out of a depression, the city found itself on an upswing. Large downtown buildings began to rise, shaping the landscape of the city center. New elaborate mansions were constructed along Queens and Grand Avenue as London basked in its new found wealth. The promise of a new life, filled with hope and opportunity, attracted Edward Winder Sr. He was one of 12 brothers to leave a small Irish village near the River Shannon around the year 1862. He'd earned his living painting and redecorating houses, so it was no surprise to see him hard at work building the house that would make all of his dreams come true. Situated on Wellington Street, south of Horton at Hill Street, it would become a landmark, a beacon for weary travelers that their journey, for the time being, had come to an end. With plans for a structure that would allow residential quarters alongside a place for business, he broke with tradition and combined the residential and commercial units side by side. A grocery store occupied half of the ground floor, while the other half and the whole second floor was devoted to a family residence. Spacious, workable, and unique, with two separate postal addresses, 129 Wellington Street applied to the store, and 131 Wellington Street was reserved for the residents. As an early testament to his innovation and skill, Winder chose 35-inch wooden boards for the exterior walls, the only known example of this type of construction in London, quite possibly in the entire province. Many generations of the Winder family lived in the house until the late 60s, when the decision was made to rent the property. Yet, it remained within the family until the summer of 2010, when a new era, a new chapter in the history of this remarkable structure began. Over time, the many years of constant use had begun to take its toll on the building. Word began to spread that it should be condemned, closed down, destroyed. Yet many Londoners committed to preserving and cherishing the heritage of our city would not let that happen. Through an organization aptly named the Save the Red Antiquities Building, momentum began to build. Finally, thanks to the generous support of a cross-section of our community, this new adventure was about to begin. On June 21st, 2010, Pathways, Skill Development and Placement Center, and Heritage London Foundation, both charitable organizations, entered into an innovative and joint agreement to restore and renovate the Red Antiquities Building, bringing it back from the brink of demolition. Pathways Skill Development joined with the Ministry of Training, Colleges and Universities in a job creation partnership. This partnership brought members of our community eager to gain experience and skill to the table. 12 construction workers plus an administrative team were brought on to see this project to completion. The building became not only a renewed vision of our community heritage, but also a learning laboratory of skill development. With a construction crew in place, things began to roll. The first step in the restoration of the building was the removal of the two chimneys, each weighing 2 to 3 tons. They were dismantled and cleaned by hand in order for the bricks to be reused in the final restoration. Once the chimneys were removed, the next crucial and daunting task was ready to begin. 139 years took a toll on the foundation of the Red Antiquities Building as it continued to deteriorate. Plans were made to create a full, usable basement and ensure a solid structure for many years to come. Construction workers stabilized the building in preparation for the move. Using specialized equipment, the building was lifted off of its crumbling foundation and placed on massive beams. These beams were then slid back 60 feet onto the building's backyard property. Once the building was out of the way, soil was removed both by hand and by machine, and concrete footings and walls were poured. Twin beams and steel columns were installed in preparation to lower the house back to its rightful place. Under the supervision of experienced workers, the house was moved back to its original location, yet now sat atop a brand new foundation. At long last, the bricks from the original foundation could be carefully cleaned and stored. As homage to the historical significance of the building, plans were to reuse these original bricks on the facade of the new foundation. As the months continued to pass, the crew moved their attention to the exterior of the building. Maintaining the unique wide-board construction was as important as remaining true to the rich, vibrant red color visible to anyone who travels through the gateway on Wellington Street. First the north wall, then the west wall. One by one, the pieces were falling into place. Construction crews also began work on a new roof. On the rear addition of the house, where there was once a low-lying rooftop, allowing for very little headroom, there is now a spacious one, thanks to an extra 8 inches in height. In keeping with a commitment to preserving as much of the original building as possible, each and every original window frame was stripped, sanded, and repainted. This was an arduous process which took a great deal of patience and skill. It was a day of celebration when London Hydro installed the stack for electrical service. As motorists, pedestrians, and Soho business owners passed by that little stretch of Wellington Street at Hill, they began to see a very different sight than what once was. The crew now turned their attention to building 2 chimneys using new bricks that were made using a heritage style. Plus, the original bricks were reused and worked into the new brick foundation. Construction also began on a brand new roof using Decra Shake XD. This innovative product gives the building the look of hand-split shake without the worry or maintenance that this traditional type of roofing requires. With the completion of the roof, construction crews turned their attention to the interior of the building. Preparation for plumbing, heating, and electrical is underway, as is the task of restoring the interior to create workable, attractive space. So much has been accomplished by the dedicated members of this diverse and important team, but there is still so much to be done. Each interior room will be as aesthetically pleasing as the next, plus exterior landscaping will be a welcome addition once spring 2012 is underway. Without the contributions of community partners, corporate donors, and people like you, projects like this would not be possible. If you would like to become involved, please visit our website and contact us, www.redantiquitiesbuilding.com.